So the 2019 NBA draft is kind of shaping up to be a top-heavy draft. Like, there was some good players at the top, a couple good players in the middle, but overall not the greatest draft we have seen so far. I think it could compare to 2017, but 2018 in itself definitely is looking like the best draft in the last 5 years. But today we are going to be doing our redraft of the 2019 NBA draft for the lottery selection. That's right, I'm going to be redrafting the 2019 draft. Today we will have 7 honorable mentions, and any of those players I mentioned could be there at 14 or 13. I just couldn't put all 21 of these players into 14 spots. We are going to be going from pick 14, starting with the Celtics, all the way to 1, where the Pelicans selected. So if you guys enjoy redrafts, drop a like on this video, and I can do 2020 or 2018, whatever you want to see down below. And also, if you disagree with me, you can also let me know down below. So without further ado, let's get into this. So to start off with the 7 honorable mentions, like I just said, I couldn't put all 7 of these guys into the top 14. And if you feel like one of these guys should be in the lottery, that is perfectly fine with me. That's why I made an honorable mention category. So to start off, we have Bol Bol. The reason you could put him in the top 14 is because he is a big, and this draft really lacked bigs. Same with Jackson Hayes, who's also my honorable mentions. He was the first center off the board, so you could maybe put him in the lottery here if you feel like these teams, like maybe the Celtics or a team like that, could draft a center. Next up, we have Kevin Porter Jr., who looked great last year, and he was the last pick of the 2019 draft in the first round, but he just got traded to Houston. Off the court issues, maybe I'm not going to put him in the lottery. And then these 4 players were the toughest ones leaving out of the top 14. Eric Paschall, Keldon Johnson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Sekou Doumbouya. Any of those 4 players you could put in my redraft, and I'd be perfectly fine with that. So first up, we have the Celtics at 14. They originally took Romeo Langford, and he will not be here in the redraft. I'm going to have them take Cam Johnson, who originally went 11th to the Suns, and he's out of UNC. The Celtics like their wings. Now, they took Aaron Nesmith in really from the 2020 draft, and he's kind of similar to Cameron Johnson. Their main strong suit is their shooting, and I think the Celtics would love that, getting somebody that's going to shoot high 30s in percentage from downtown on a good volume. He's not going to be somebody that's going to be your number 3 scorer, or he's going to be your rim protector, or something that they definitely need. But I think getting Cam Johnson, somebody you can have come off the bench, knock down a couple threes, and really just be a situational guy, would be huge for them. Next up, we have the Miami Heat. Originally, they took Tyler Hero. Unfortunately, he will not be going this low for them in the redraft, so I have them taking another wing. It's going to be Cam Reddish out of Duke. So Cam Reddish in his NBA career so far has not been very good. He shot below 40% from the field in his rookie year, and it started off his sophomore year doing the same. He's shooting low 30% from 3 on a decent volume, over 4 attempts a night in his rookie year and about over 5 attempts a night on a sophomore year. His defense still isn't the greatest either, but the thing that's there for him is his potential. He looked great in the preseason. I thought we were going to see a better start to his sophomore year, but I think being in maybe the Miami player development that's developed Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, Bam Adebayo as of late, and obviously Tyler Hero, their actual 2019 rookie, would be great for Cam Reddish, and that's why I think the Heat would still take him in the lottery. Next up, we have the Charlotte Hornets, who actually took a pretty good player at 12 in PJ Washington, but this time they're not going to land PJ Washington because they go a little bit higher, so they're going to take somebody at the same position in Darius Baisley. Baisley is a athletic forward that can also space the floor a little bit. He did shoot solid from 3 in his rookie year, but that was on lesser volume, taking about less than 1 3 a night. Now, this year he's taking more than 1 3 a night, and he isn't shooting all that well from 3, shooting high 20s. But I think the athleticism is there. They would want to maybe get that big to put next to Miles Bridges at the time, and they also had Devontae Graham, who they didn't know was about to break out, and Terry Rozier. They just lost Kemba Walker, or I guess you could say they didn't lose Kemba Walker yet. They lost him like 10 days later. But I think they had their eyes set on a big man, and I think Baisley, I would take him over Bol Bol or Jackson Hayes in a redraft. And speaking of the Hornets 2019 pick, we're going to have the Suns at pick 11, who made this trade, getting Dario Saric and 11 for pick 6. And a lot of people at that time were like, what are you doing? They also just traded TJ Warren for like cash. So it was like, all right, what is going on in Phoenix? But they ended up with Cam Johnson, who's worked out fine for them so far. And I'm going to have them taking PJ Washington out of Kentucky. Washington has been pretty consistent in his first 2 years. They would have that front court member that they could put next to DeAndre Ayton for their future. They really still haven't found that guy yet. Is it maybe Cam Johnson? Is it Mikal Bridges kind of playing a little bit higher up in the positional chart than where they maybe should be as a 3? Is it Jalen Smith? Is it Dario Saric? I don't know, but PJ Washington could have been that guy. He shot well from 3 in his rookie year, and he's doing the same in his sophomore year. In my opinion, he's improved as a rebounder and a physical presence down low this year, so I think this would have been a nice pick for the Suns. Coming in at number 10, we are going to have the Atlanta Hawks, who originally took a wing in Cam Reddish, who went 13 to the Heat. They're going to take a wing that's, I think, been better so far, Rui Hachimura out of Gonzaga. Some people thought maybe Rui was a reach for the Wizards originally at 9, and I think getting him at 10 is pretty good value for the Hawks. He's been pretty consistent so far, right? He's averaged around 13.5 points in his rookie and sophomore season. Even though the sophomore season is a small sample size, he's shooting near 50% from the field. Yes, he isn't going to shoot threes for you, or really hasn't been a big part of his game so far, but obviously he can develop into that throughout his career. I mean, he hasn't been a great defender so far, but he's also been on like the worst defensive team in his rookie year, and the Wizards haven't really gotten much better on defense this year. I know the Hawks aren't much better, but with Clint Capella and maybe just some other pieces, obviously this draft would be a little bit different for them. I think it would be better out for Rui Hachimura on the defensive end. I feel like I tried saying all for out there. They really make a lot of sense. Apologize about that. And speaking of the Wizards and needing some defensive help, I'm going to have them take Matisse Thybulle here at pick 9 out of Washington. So he's one of the biggest risers here. He was taken outside of the lottery, technically by, I believe, Boston, and then was traded on draft night to Philly, the pick. Well, I mean, his offense this year hasn't been good whatsoever. Taking about 3 shots a night and shooting 32% from the field and 25% from downtown. Like, his offense definitely needs help. But the Wizards, with Bertans at the time, with Bradley Beal, they were going to have eventually John Wall coming back, Thomas Bryant. That had some offensive players. They really just needed defense, and I think Matisse Thybulle would be huge for them if they were to take him at pick 9 in a redraft. At pick 8, I'm going to have the New Orleans Pelicans select Kobe White, the point guard out of UNC, so he's the first point guard off the board here in this redraft. So I just changed my redraft a little bit up on the fly here, as I did have Kobe White originally going to his original team in the Chicago Bulls, but I'm going to have him going to the Pelicans here, who I thought would be kind of interesting to take a point guard at that time, but they took one this year in 2020, so it makes me think they would have taken one in 2019 if they liked somebody, and I think that could have been Kobe White. Kobe White's been an interesting player to say the least. He's been pretty inconsistent. Like, when he's on, like, he had a stretch last year where he was averaging like 28 points, shooting 40% from 3, and looking like, all right, this guy is the real deal as a scoring playmaking point guard. His field goal percentage, though, wasn't really great last year. It's not off to a great start this year, but he's been proven to show that he's a good 3-point shooter. Shot 35% as a rookie and shooting 35% this year on 5 to 6 shots a night. That's not bad for a rookie and sophomore guard. Also, one thing I do like about Kobe White this year, he's improved his shot at the line, and he's improved his vision and passing ability, in my opinion. So, I mean, I know they would end up with Lonzo Ball from the Anthony Davis trade, but hey, doesn't really hurt to take another point guard. As it proves, they just did it in 2020 with also Lonzo Ball and Eric Bledsoe. And the Bulls, instead of Kobe White at 7, they're going to take a different point guard drafted in the top 10, Darius Scarlet out of Vanderbilt. He originally went 5th to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So Garland's first half of his rookie year wasn't very good. He was proven not to be an efficient scorer, not a great passer, not a good defender whatsoever. But the second half of the year, it was trending up for him. Now, I mean, there was a coaching fiasco with John Beeline. He ended up leaving like halfway through in his first year as a Cav coach. So when you're a rookie, inexperienced point guard, it is not a good case for that player to already come into a toxic situation. But in the second half under JB Bickerstaff, he looked solid and better than what he did in the first half. And I know it's a small sample size because he got hurt this year, but in 6 games, he has looked phenomenal this year for the Cavs. Getting about 6 assists a night, scoring over 17 points a game, shooting over 45% from 3 on high volume, and being a good free throw shooter. Now, credit, he's not really going to the line a lot, but still, I think the Bulls would probably take Garland in a redraft over Kobe White. And that's just my opinion. On to the Timberwolves at 6. Now, we've been saying since pretty much Cat has been drafted, they need that front court pairing next to Cat to really develop that team. And there was 3 guys they could have maybe taken in this draft. We've already mentioned 2 in Darius Baisley. We've already mentioned PJ Washington. But the man I think that they would take in a redraft to pair up with Cat in their front court would be Brandon Clark out of Gonzaga. Clark, originally drafted to the Thunder at 21, but then traded on draft night to the Grizzlies, was a phenomenal rookie. He was super efficient, shooting 61% from the field, 35% from 3, being a good defender, rebounding the ball, and just being a nice spark off the bench for Memphis. This year, he started off a little bit rough. His jump shot looked pretty awkward, and it wasn't falling a lot, but he's picked it up as of late. He's scoring about 13 points, similar to what he did last year. Not as efficient, but he is taking 4 more shots a game. Last year, he was taking about 8 shots a game, shooting 61% from the field. Now he's taking 12.5 shots a game, and he's shooting about 47%, which is fine by me. He is taking more threes, and his 3-point percentage has gone down, but I think his defensive ability, his smart basketball IQ would really be a nice pairing next to Cat in their front court, and the Timberwolves are probably regretting that because they originally took Jarrett Culver, who I'm not even going to mention in this video. At pick 5, we are going to have the Cleveland Cavaliers take the player that went right before them, Deandre Hunter out of Virginia. Now, Hunter as a rookie was pretty inconsistent as well, like a lot of these rookies, and what you would expect out of a rookie in general. But his 13-game season so far here in 2021, he's looking like the real deal as a top 5 pick. Averaging about 17 points a night, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, playing good defense, shooting 50% from the field, 40% from 3, and 86% from the line, and actually getting to the line, taking about 4 free throws a night. So I think Hunter in a redraft would go top 5. The Cavs could take him at 5, maybe play him at the 3, and then after they potentially draft Isaac Okoro, move him to the 4 because Kevin Love obviously isn't the long-term answer for the Cavs there at the power forward spot. Now into the top 4. These are, I think, the 4 best players in this draft, obviously, because I have them in the top 4. So the Hawks originally got Deandre Hunter, and now in hindsight, not looking like a bad pick at all at 4. But I think they're going to go a little bit better of a pick here and take RJ Barrett out of Duke. So RJ was originally drafted to the Knicks at 3, and he was put in probably out of all these rookies, the worst situation you could ask for a rookie player. In his first month in, his head coach gets fired and the president gets fired. Not off to a good start. And also, that president and front office really built like the worst possible team around him with Julius Randle, Elfrid Payton, Taj Gibson, Dennis Smith Jr., Marcus Morris, who can space the floor unlike all the rest of those guys, but he really wasn't a facilitator at all for RJ, and he was just really playing second or third or even fourth fiddle on that team behind Elfrid, Julius Randle, and Marcus Morris. Really, it was a horrible situation. But this year under Tom Thibodeau, he's looking like the top 3 pick and showing that potential. Now, his efficiency still hasn't been great. He really has to figure out what he is as a player because I don't think he's really much of a three-point shooter, but he consistently takes threes. He's taking about 4.5 a night, and he's shooting about 24% on those. Not great, I know, right? I would really like if he took that down to like 2 threes a night because, I mean, he has those games like game 1 against the Pacers. He started off like perfect from the field. He was like 3 for 3 from 3. Last night against the Warriors, when I'm recording this on January 22nd, he looked great from downtown, but he has those games like against Philadelphia and against a bunch of other teams that you could literally look at any one of their games. He's not much of a three-point scorer. He's really a mid-range guy and attacking the basket guy. His field goal percentage is up from last year. It's at 40.8% rather than being 40.2, so hey, improvement. But he's averaging 18 points and 7 rebounds. He's looking better as a defender under Tom Thibodeau, and I think if the Knicks actually really built around him, it's still really not around RJ Barrett. It's still more around Julius Randle, and luckily he's overcame Elfrid Payton this year. I don't know. I think he would look a little bit better in playing him next to Trae Young. Ooh, that would be amazing. And here we're into the top 3. The New York Knicks are going to take another shooting guard. Obviously, it's not RJ Barrett since he went 4th. They're going to take Tyler Hero out of Kentucky over him. So yeah, it's the 3rd Kentucky guy we've mentioned. Keldon Johnson was an audible mention. PJ Washington went number 11 to the Suns. And now Tyler Hero going number 3. Hero, out of any one of these players, has the most playoff experience. He played really well in the Heat's finals championship run last year in the bubble. He's improved as a second-year player, maybe as a just overall scorer, but not as a three-point scorer, as his three-point efficiency has dropped, but he's been better mid-range and at the rim. He's improved as a facilitator slash playmaker. He's improved as a rebounder and his physical presence. His turnovers has gone up, yes, but that's likely in fact that his usage has gone up, so that makes sense. And I think the Knicks, this would be a no-brainer pick at 3. I think what we've seen in the first 2 years, you would take Tyler Hero 9 times out of 10 over RJ Barrett. Now, here is the difficult part of the video. What you guys seen in the thumbnail, I was going back and forth. Who's going 2, who's going 1, and I came with the decision at 2. The Memphis Grizzlies are still going to take Ja Morant. And I know a lot of you might be saying, Matt, how do you not have Ja 1 and Zion 2? Ja literally led the Grizzlies, who were supposed to not even win more than 25 games, to the play-in tournament. And I think that's a very good case. I agree. But Zion has been phenomenal too. And I'll talk about Zion when we get to him. So let me talk about Ja and what's been good about him so far and why he's going number 2. He originally went number 2. He was the Rookie of the Year last year. I predicted him to win Rookie of the Year. And he's proven to be a winning basketball player so far. He's making guys around him better, like Brandon Clark, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jonas Valanciunas, Dillon Brooks. He's a great inside scorer. His three-point percentage has dropped off this year, but I'm not worried whatsoever from him because he can score in so many other ways. And it's not even like three-point shooting is a huge part of his game either. It's really not. But he's a phenomenal passer. I think he's a pretty good defender as well, and he is their franchise point guard. He's one of the best young point guards in the league, and you could say he's one of the better point guards in the league. Make an argument for top 10. And saying that at 21 years old is damn impressive. So the Grizzlies have a good one. He's coming in at number 2. So obviously, yeah, Zion is going to the Pelicans in the redraft at number 1 still. Now, the reason I didn't put Ja at 1 and Zion at 2 is because, yes, Ja has been slightly better so far, but I don't think the margin is large enough for me to actually make the switch and put Ja at 1, Zion at 2. Like, if it was like the start of like the Kevin Durant, Greg Oden rookie careers, and it's like a noticeable difference, like, wow, the number 1 pick team really made a mistake not taking the number 2 guy, I would have put Ja there, but I don't think it's that much of a difference so far what we've seen because Zion has been great in his own right too to make that switch. Zion's big thing is really just staying on the floor. His defense still isn't great, but hey, he's only 20 years old. And once he's fully healthy and accustomed to playing, he already has a new head coach. He's went from Alvin Gentry to Stan Van Gundy. That's not a good thing for a rookie player. But I think Stan Van Gundy's going to make him a better defender. I think he's improved this year from what we've seen in the small sample size last year. He's one of the best inside scorers in the NBA and one of the best offensive rebounders. He's really not much of a shooter at all, but hey, his presence is inside. If he's going to be giving you 24 and 8 every night, hey, you really can't complain from your number 1 overall pick on that. So yeah, that is it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed my 2019 NBA redraft. Let me know what you guys think down below. And if you guys did enjoy the video, drop a thumbs up. Also, if you want to let me know down below which draft we should do next. Do you think we should do in 2020 and just be super overreactive on it and already make assumptions. I mean, it could be funny. Why not? So let me know if you want to see that down below. Thank you all for watching. I love y'all. You know the story. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.